Relationships ain't easy, and unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to change that, but you can enjoy them more. And if you approach them the right way, they can be more than worth it. So I'm John Sanders. I'm a husband, father, brother, sharing the mistakes and successes that I've made in my own relationships so I can help you with yours. If you're single, struggling to get a date, or if you're married and you feel like you're a million miles away from the spouse that's sitting right next to you, I got something that's going to help you. We're going to have fun, you're going to laugh, but most importantly, you're going to learn something that's going to help you take your relationship to the next level. Or if you don't have a relationship, you'll learn something to help you get one. Let's jump into the podcast.
Okay, we're going to continue with our series on step-by-step dating. Last time we talked about friendship. Now we're talking about dating this time, so we're starting to get romantic. So I think it's going to be fun. We're going to jump into this. Enjoy. So I want to just remind you guys real quick. There's some easy steps to this. Start off with friendship, then you start dating, then you make it official, then you get engaged. And then if you survive the engaged stage, you get married. So again, these are how to find love for the rest of your life. How to find the one, if you will. So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about dating. So we're going to define dating. I'm going to tell you what you should learn about the other person in this step. Basically, what's the purpose of this step? I'm going to talk about how men, we need to step up in this step. We're going to go over some do's and don'ts. I think you guys like those. And then I'm going to do a little bit of dating one person versus dating multiple people. So let's jump in. What is dating? So I looked it up again. I Googled it. This is what Wikipedia had to say. Dating is a stage of romantic relationships whereby two people meet socially with the aim of each assessing the other's suitability as a prospective partner in a future intimate relationship. It took me a while. I read this maybe 3 or 4 times because they start off in a romantic relationship, but then they're talking about being a prospective partner in a future relationship, almost like it was 2 different relationships. But I think I have a simpler way of saying it. So I'm going to kind of tell you what this is. So in this step, you both know you want to be more than just friends. So obviously in the friend stage, you're supposed to be figuring this out. Is this other person liking me more than a friend? Do I actually like this person more than a friend? But at this stage, you should know. It doesn't mean you're going to get married. It doesn't mean that they love you. And 2 or 3 weeks after dating, they may find out, it was wrong. I don't want to date this person anymore. But at least at this time and starting off, you both know you're interested in being more than just friends. Now, how do you know this? Well, in some way, you should have expressed this to each other. So we'll kind of go over this later when I say, man, we need to step up in this area and initiate. But in some way, you should express this to each other. I remember with me and my wife, she was a teacher at the time. She was like a first grade teacher. So every summer, she had to redecorate her classroom. So I don't know if you guys have ever been in a first grade room, but there's stuff everywhere. I remember she had this custom drawn tree. And so we had to tape this big tree on the wall, and it had all these unique branches, and each branch had, letters, numbers, multiplication, whatever, and all these little owls everywhere. And that was just one part of one wall. And so, of course, we had to decorate everything else. And so we were in the middle of this, and I think it was like a Sunday afternoon at the church, or maybe it was Saturday, but it was a weekend, I know that. And she stopped, looked over, and said, "You like me, don't you?" To which I kind of chuckled, and I was like, I sure wouldn't be here on a weekend if I didn't. So it may have been a little funny way of doing it, but we started dating shortly after that. we both knew we were interested in each other. So dating, you're also actively spending time together and romantically. So in the friend stage, I said, hold up, wait, hold off on the romance. But now you guys are actively being romantic together. And this is what separates the dating stage from the friend stage. So we know what dating is now, but what should you be doing in the dating stage? Like, what's the purpose of it? What should you be learning? So as in each step, you need to learn, can I trust this person at this current step, which would then give me enough evidence to believe that I can trust them at the next step. So the first step of friendship, it was just, is this a cool person? Do I even want to be around them? Do they just treat me like a human at least? And I can trust them to do that. So now that you guys are dating, it gets a little deeper. Can I trust them now with my emotions and my feelings? Because now you guys are more than just friends. So now emotions are going to get into it. Feelings get into it. So you're trying to figure out, can I really trust them with this? You also want to know, do we really like each other as much as we thought? Because when you were friends, maybe you first met them and it was cool and you start catching feelings, getting a crush. And sometimes you learn that people aren't who you thought they were. You also want to know, is this person someone I really want to spend the majority of my time with? So you're in the dating stage, but if you go to the next one, it's being official. And at that point, you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. So you need to know is, do I really want to spend that much time with this person? Okay. So you know what you need to be doing. So I'm going to take a quick break and just challenge the men here right now. I need you guys to step up, and I need you guys to start initiating and being intentional in communicating that. So when you're chasing this woman, she needs to know that you're pursuing her. It can't just be implied. You can't just be like, oh, she'll figure it out. You need to tell her somehow. You don't have to necessarily sit down and be like, look, I have a contract right here. It says that you understand that I officially told you that we're dating. It doesn't have to be like that. Like I said in my story, it was something simple, but she needs to know. You need to also be honest about what this step means to you, and you need to find out what it means to her. So you need to kind of go through some process of explaining to her, like, hey, I'm dating you, this is what it means. So take this for example. When I met my wife, at some point in our dating, this topic came up. And I let her know, it was just like, this is how I date. I start off with friends, then we date, like we're doing now. If everything goes good, we become official, and then we get engaged, and hopefully we get married. And so I was just telling her, I take things step by step. And I explained to her that I don't start dating unless I think this person potentially could be my wife, but I don't know yet, and that's why I'm taking these steps. So I explained this to her, and I listened and asked her, how do you date? And so from that, it opened up the door and let each other know this is what we're doing. So when I described the dating stage, and then I also said that's what we're doing, she knew for sure that that's what she was doing. And so she's told me now, looking back, that gave her a lot of peace because she knew exactly where she was. We even kind of discussed, does this mean we can date other people, et cetera, et cetera. So she knew exactly what she could do. She knew what I could do. She knew what I was promising to do or committing to. And so that seems like it would put more pressure on her, but it actually let a lot more pressure. It took a lot of pressure off her now. because now she knew, well, if I want to date someone, me and him have already talked about it. He can't get upset. And if he does, then he's probably not the one. So the reason I'm telling you to make sure you explain this and to understand how she dates is because you both need to be on the same page and you both need to agree this. So if you find out that your two dating techniques just conflict horribly with each other, then it's probably not a good matchup. And so if you guys can catch that early on, it'll be much better. So man, now that you've explained this to them, it's up to you to actively pursue her. You need to come up with dates. Now that you guys are dating, when you go out on a date, you should pay. That should be the rule. The exception should be her paying. Some women like to pay every now and then, but men, trust me, just say, hey, I want to treat you. You're special to me. Please let me pay for this. I'm enjoying my time with you. I enjoyed eating. I enjoyed the movies. Enjoyed going here and there. Wherever you guys went. Trust me, you'll thank me. And this is an area that I actually struggled within for years and years and years. And it wasn't until I started asking other women, just kind of how things they wished men would do. Because I was trying to look for ways that I could better myself and come across as, let's just say, the hero when I'm dating women. And so I started realizing, and I heard multiple women complain about how men oftentimes don't have a plan for their dates. And so basically they were just like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And they would just come with them with that. And so this was something that they hated so much that a lot of times it would make them think twice about going on another date with them. And then on the flip side, if someone did come up with a plan, had a plan for them, and it was thoughtful, that was something they would actually brag to their friends about. And then they would be excited to see what the next date was going to be. So, and I will say something real quick. You can still let them have a choice by planning out maybe 2 different dates or variations of the dates. Let's say you're going to do 3 things on a Saturday. Maybe you're going to go to the park, and then you're going to get something to eat, and then you go to a concert or something. So you could say, hey, this is what I was planning. I'd like to go to the park. I'd like to go get something to eat. I'd like to go to a concert. So you could say, when we're at the park, there's this beautiful duck pond or something that we can go to, but on the other side, there's a place to play Frisbee. So you can ask her, what would you prefer of those 2? So basically you give her options that you've planned out to see what she wants to do. So at least then you're considering her, and then she knows you're not just trying to tell her what to do, but that you also put time into it and thought about it. So you guys can thank me later on that. But trust me, men, you need to step up. So do's and don'ts. Obviously, one of the do's is do plan out your dates. And don't just come up to her and say, well, what do you want to do today? Do send texts. See how they're doing, how their week's going. Don't send 100 texts an hour, 7 days a week. Just use common sense. Especially when you first start off, it's still kind of new. You're going to learn a cadence to texting or calling, whatever. But you should still be focused on your things as they should be focused on their things. And just slowly over time, the more you date, the closer you get, then the cadence can become quicker. But starting off once or twice a week, just kind of, hey, how are you doing? Checking in, have a quick conversation, maybe plan out your next date. Keep it simple. So do start asking questions about what they're looking for in a future spouse. But don't start talking about the two of you being future spouses. So jumping the gun is probably one of the quickest ways to not get a second date. It's okay to ask them what they're looking for in a future date. Because when you talk about things like that, then you'll know, are they even looking for a future spouse? And then what does that future spouse look like? And do you fit in there somehow? So you need to be asking these questions, but you can't be assuming already so early in the game that this person is going to be the one. You can start asking them, do start asking them more questions about how they grew up, their family dynamics, etc. But don't assume that their family was just like yours. So here again, you're just trying to learn more about them. Finding out how someone grew up, the family dynamics, is a way for you to understand them more. Kind of why they are who they are today. Again, but don't assume that they grew up just like you. That's just, you don't assume. Do plan thoughtful surprises based off of something that they said, that they enjoy, or like in a conversation. It could be gifts, celebrations, some random surprise. But don't surprise them by showing up to their house or workplace unannounced. So it's good to surprise them. Both men and women like surprises. Shows that you were thinking about them, caring about them. It breaks up monotony. It's great. But it should be little small things. Like if you had a date planned, maybe there's a surprise part where you heard her talk about that she likes a certain type of ice cream from a certain location. So you just make sure that maybe your route or your path from one event to the next event goes past that ice cream shop, and you say, hey, you know what? Remember you told me you like such and such ice cream? Let's stop and get some ice cream. It could be something simple like that. But just showing up randomly at someone's office or house unannounced could come across as creepy, weird, especially if you guys just started dating. It could just really put them off and just be like, I need more space. Why is this person here? You never know. They could have had a bad day and they just want to be by themselves. And now you're invading their space. And now they're having to go through the pressure to, well, I like this person, but I don't want to talk to them right now. But if I tell them that, how are they going to take it, et cetera, et cetera. So just don't do that. Now, one of the things my wife actually still remembers to this day is that I got a birthday card, and there was a Starbucks gift card in it. And I remember her eyes lighting up when I gave it to her. It was a simple card. I didn't say anything romantic. I think I was just like, happy birthday. Here's a gift card. Because we had talked about things that we like in Starbucks was one of the things that she brought up that she loves. And so this gift, even though it was a simple gift, it was just a gift card. It showed that I was listening to her and remembered it. So again, gifts are great, especially when it's based off of something that they said they like or enjoy in a conversation. But just don't go overboard. Don't be showing up at people's office. Just don't. So do be clear with your intentions and dating philosophy. And please find out theirs. Don't assume that theirs are the same as yours, or leave them guessing what yours is. So we kind of talked about this earlier. During this dating stage, you want to make sure you're both on the same page. And you want to make sure that at least your philosophies can fit with each other. And you understand when she says dating, what that means, and she understands that when he says he's dating, what that means. And there's no assumptions. So, we talked about dating. Most of the times I was talking about dating, it seemed like I was just talking about just one person at a time. So, should you date one person only? Or can you date multiple people? Which one's the best way? So let me start off just with some pros and cons before I tell you. So dating one person. Some pros are you can focus all of your attention on that one person. It makes sense. It's only one person, you can focus more time on them. You can get to know them quicker because you're not dating multiple people. Let's say you're dating 3 or 4 other people. In a week, you might be able to see someone, maybe go on 2-3 dates. If you're dating multiple people, then obviously you got to split those dates up. But if you're just dating one person, that's 3-4 dates with one person. So it can be faster. When you're not around them, you still have time to focus on you and your goals. So one of the things you want to avoid when you're dating is losing track of you, yourself, and then obviously your goals and what you're trying to do. So dating one person helps you with that because you can still get to know them well, but still have time for yourself. So some cons. If it doesn't work out, you spend a lot of time with one person. And now to a degree, you have to start all over again with someone new. You kind of from scratch. Feelings tend to grow deeper quicker. And if it doesn't work out, you tend to take it harder. And the breakups can be messier. There definitely will be more emotions involved. So it doesn't have to be messier, but usually the more emotions involved, the easier it is to be messy. So what about dating multiple people? Well, there's some excitement in dating multiple people. Potential to have multiple people chasing you or get chased by multiple people at the same time. That could be fun. I get it. You have people you're currently dating to compare them to. So when you're dating one person at a time, you can compare them to maybe past people you dated. But obviously, if you're dating multiple people, you could compare them to each other. If you're dating one person, you can compare them to people you dated in the past. But if you're dating multiple people at one time, you can obviously compare them all at the same time. So that can be a pro. Since your attention is split, you tend to develop deeper feelings slower. And then if the relationship doesn't work out, the effect tends to be less compared to if you're just dating one person at a time. Then also if you're dating multiple people and one of them doesn't work out, we still got more. So you're not starting off from scratch, so to speak. So cons. Well, if you're dating multiple people, it takes more time. And this means if you're trying to spend one-on-one with each person compared to dating one person at a time, you got to go on more dates. And so it usually takes longer to get to know each person. Then that means it takes longer to make that decision to continue or end the relationship. If you're dating multiple people, there's a chance of your dates getting jealous with each other. Or even getting mad at you, even if you did tell them in advance. So that's something, it could get a little sticky, get a little hairy. There's a song about busting windows at a car. That's one of the cons you have to worry about. So now, what do I suggest? What do I recommend? I think it depends on the couple. So me personally, when I met my wife, I was so into her that she was the only one that I was focused on. Like, we had gone through the talk saying that we could date other people, but I was just focused on her. So I just didn't see anybody else, man. I got tunnel vision at that time. But I think as long as you have clarified what the step is and that they agree with it, I think it's okay. But you really have to clarify this, and they need to be okay with it. I don't think it's okay, let's say if you tell someone, I think I can date multiple people right now, and they're saying, well, I'm not really comfortable with that. Now, if you start lying and being like, oh, well, I'm not dating anyone else now, knowing that you are, knowing that you plan to, obviously you shouldn't lie to anyone like that in a relationship. So Again, it really depends on the couple. It depends on your maturity level. If you guys are both okay with it. So recap. Step number 2, dating. This is a step when both of you are interested in each other. It's more than just friends, and you guys are actively pursuing a romantic relationship. What should I learn about the person in this step? Why am I even dating? I'm trying to find out, can I see myself with this person and only this person? Can we be official? Could I even see this person possibly for the rest of my life? And yes, it doesn't mean that you're committing to marriage at this point. Not at all. Far from it. But if you can't even see yourself with this person, it's time to move on. Men, step up, initiate, and communicate in this step. Plan dates, pay for those dates, and buy, do, make, plan surprises. Some do's and don'ts. Do be clear with your intentions and your dating philosophy and find out theirs. Don't assume that theirs match up with yours. And don't leave them guessing what yours are. Should I date one person at a time? Can I date multiple people? Depends on the couple. You can focus on one person and get to know them deeper quicker. But if you break up, it can also hurt more. If you date multiple people at once, it can be more fun up front, but it takes longer to get to know each person. And you'll eventually have to break up with the other ones when you find out who you actually want to move to the next step with. But that is the dating stage. The next step will be the official step. We're getting closer to marriage, man. So thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later.